Greetings to all. Today we have Dr. P. N. Udayachandra among us for the third session of 2 days national level webinar on professional excellency opportunities and challenges. Dr. Udayachandra presently employed at SDM College, Ujire, Dakshina Kannada district, Karnataka, in the position of Associate Professor in Commerce and Management and also Head of the Department. He has been in this profession for a quarter of century. He became a lecturer in commerce at SDM College, Ujire in 1987 and continued to be employed in the same institution, and for a decade he served as a registrar. He was awarded PhD degree in the year 2001 from Mangalore University. He completed a facilitator certification in human resource development and became a master facilitator in HRD through an award from College for Leadership and HRD in Inside, the HRD Group Mangalore. Is a recognized research guide at Tumkur University and guiding 6 research scholars. He also successfully completed guiding 12 MPhil scholars. He is specialized in teaching both undergraduate as well as the postgraduate. The subject like human resource management, entrepreneurial development, organizational behavior, banking, business research methodology, microfinance, and microinsurance. Its major area of interest are rural entrepreneurship, human resource development, and microfinance. Now the session is over to you, sir.
Welcome to Teaching Challenges for Millennials. I acknowledge uh, the organizers for hosting the most significant and relevant webinar on the contemporary issues in the most critical juncture and inviting me to be the resource person. I thank Dr. Sunil D'Souza, alumni of SDM College, and I am proud to claim that he was my millennial student. Next slide. Next slide. Okay, next slide. Okay, now the most critical thing now, whenever we face the pandemics or calamities, we think that it's new, but it's not new. With the due respect to Vyasa, who wrote Mahabharata, there was a critical period where Arjuna reveals his doubt. It is beautifully said in Sanskrit, Kim karma kimakarmeti kavayopyatra mohita. The translation is, what is right action and what is non-action will baffles the wise. So earlier, the wise people include in a broader frame called as the Kavi, which have been included the teachers, professors, advocates, everyone. So once you look at I start like this, the available definition on millennials suggests the people reaching young adulthood in the early 21st century, born between 81 and 96. And if you just probe further, coincidentally, all these millennials are born to the Generation X parents born between 65 and 76. Now here you should remember the teacher challenge starts from now. Next slide. See, when millennials enter into the citadel of higher education, I use the word citadel for the reason that our colleges, universities are becoming a fortress. It is not just the portals, it is the fortress. And they silently contest the academic process of teaching, learning, and evaluation. See, in my generation, we used to listen to the teacher attentively, but now the millennials are a different category of people because they have a little bit of fair financial then emotional, intellectual background. So you will find that the millennial, irrespective of he has chosen to be the entrepreneur or not, they silently contest the academic process of teaching, learning, and evaluation. The main reason the focus of higher education institutions are generic to create a pathway to further studies and research, employment, and self employment. Here, the most important challenge you should remember, we are not specifically teaching only for the students for self employment or for employment or exclusively for further studies. Next slide. Next slide. Now, as the teacher is very comfortable in teaching the broad content, ideal to fulfill the triple needs of higher education institution, and the focus in the majority of the cases is students' attendance, test performance, and results. My experience of 3.5 decades of teaching the degree and post graduation, still you will find that the focus will be on attendance, test performance, and results. The millennial entrepreneurs are the subset of millennials with the class within the classroom who looks like indifferent with less interest in the academics. This is a greater challenge to the teachers. Now, the millennial entrepreneurs are only a subset of millennial students, adults. So, in a portion is the entrepreneurs. So these entrepreneurs in a classroom, they look like indifferent, but they are a bit indifferent, not different, different with less interest in academic. The academic, when I say the attendance, class, test performance, and the results, they have a broader picture. Will you please go to the next slide? Yes, now here the same thing is continued. Both in the UG degree and PG degree programs, they are more generic in nature with limited specialization to orient and expose the students to carve their growth plan in the real situation. When you look at entrepreneurship as a general subject or a specialization, it has same inherent limitation. Same. Now, kindly note this. Being a teacher, I am saying uh, in all these UG programs, we offer limited specialization and it is generic and it is only the orientation and the exposure. But our students are smart enough to catch up. So some catch up as a good employee with some skill set, and others will go for higher studies. Then a few will become the entrepreneur. And in the case of the entrepreneurship, in the case of the starting an enterprise, you might have observed, in the many of the cases, the, the student will join the existing business started by his father. Only in rare instances you will find, I mean, a microscopic minority, that based on their competency and experience started their own. We always give the examples like Infosys. And if you consider the uh, because they look differently in the classroom. Some students, millennials, they left their studies and they started their own. So you will find one exclusive category called as a dropout starting a business and running a business. Now these are the realities the teacher should know and at least sensible enough to communicate. Next slide. Next slide. Okay, now here you will find when you look at the performance along with the universal skill set like communication, then decision making, interpersonal relationship. These are all universal skill set which are required for an employee, effective employee. Whereas entrepreneur need something more. So anyone involved in entrepreneurial training or teaching need the teaching method need to be embedded with the appetite for risk taking, tolerance to ambiguity, to be independent, and not to lose confidence. These are the four, say, the characters which are now researched and accepted that a person to become an entrepreneur, he need to have an appetite for risk taking. Many are risk averters. I taught for 15 to 20 years the topic entrepreneurship, but I have not started a business on my own. I always bothered about the limitation I speak, the financial risk, the market risk, political risk, and all. So because I don't have that appetite for risk taking, then the another one very difficult is tolerance to ambiguity. And no businessman will say what exactly his sales will be. Today 100, tomorrow it may change. Then the not the least, to be independent. A person who wanted to be independent always will not lose confidence. So these are the four characters which makes an entrepreneur. The beauty is it cannot be taught, but it can be learned or experienced by practice. We have one Vedic verse, that is yatho vacho nivartanto. When I say yatho vacho nivartanto, that means those cannot be explained through words. It is just like saying quantifying my hunger. Now nowadays everything has become fashionable to quantify. What is appetite for risk taking? No, you can't quantify. What is the tolerance to ambiguity? You can't quantify, because basically they are qualitative, to be independent and not to lose the confidence. So, having said this, will you please go to the next slide? Having said that, the enormous challenge for the teacher is to realize the limitations or constraints in making of an entrepreneur. See, if you know how you can make an entrepreneur, then you need to understand the challenges. If a person is indifferent, if a person is not very attentive in the class, then at least the teacher should make an inquiry. Why you are like this? Is there anything I can help? Now, always when I say help, people think that it is the monetary. Sometimes it is not monetary. Just saying that I'm with you, then it may ease. But today you should remember, all are busy due to both academic and non-academic, especially with the rating agencies entering into the higher education. So what best can be done is to make the millennials, maybe potential employee, researchers, or an entrepreneur, is to understand the grave uncertainties ahead. Please remember, I am using the word grave. If the uncertainties are not tackled, then it may directly lead to the grave, like COVID-19 pandemic. Next slide. And what we need is, in the whole teaching, learning, and evaluation process, can we look at the competency? The competency is the blend of knowledge and skills. To identify the opportunity in uncertainties and making it advantageous to his business operations during calamities, epidemics, or pandemics. Now, with the gravity of the problems, we call either calamity, we call epidemic or pandemic. Now you take COVID-19. Hello. COVID-19, suddenly mask manufacturing. Earlier it was like your surgical mask, but now you will find for the girls different category, for the boys different category. They have improvised. Then sanitizer making. Now there is a drug rule says that the sanitizer making require drug license. So you have in the market hand wash, best hand wash, zero bacteria hand wash. So people will do it. Now I open the session for discussion.